rolling, and go.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Sandeep Pednikar. This morning we have some ladies over here who are going to talk about their journey. It's a journey that has not been too different from many women that you hear about, and it is still different than the rest of the world. So here we are going to talk about the people who have gone through things that should not be gone through. So I would like everybody to introduce themselves. You go first.
My
Please
name is
tell us
Thelma.
your
My name is Thelma Snipe, and I'm the director of an organization from brokenness to wholeness. The number 2, not T.O., the number 2. I serve people in this organization that has been sexual assault, rape, domestic violence, suicide, attempt and thought, and private pain. A lot of people hold the pain in them for decades. And if that pain is not addressed properly, it will stay there for decades. It will not go anywhere. I started this organization 2012. It's been 10 years ago. It has been very effective because when I started, I was a victim of sexual assault myself. It wasn't that I was whole. I was sick myself. I didn't know I was sick, and nobody else knew I was sick. I had a message from God to start this, and I didn't understand what He wanted me to do, so it was quite a while. And so one day I thought, I just better get up and start doing something. So that's when He moved again and told me to call some women that I knew and ask them one question, and that is, have they ever been sexual assaulted? He said, call 7. Get 7. I called 7 women that I knew, and every one of them had been raped. So we started an organization to help. Rape is a thing that will lie in the bed with you every night. It goes nowhere. I could tell you my story, or I can tell you a story that
I would like everybody to know, but let us introduce everybody else. Ma'am, Letitia, please.
My name's Letitia Johnson. I am a member of From Brokenness to Wholeness. I'm a survivor of sexual assault, domestic violence, mental abuse, suicidal attempts, and I'm just happy to be here today to share and partake in what Mrs. Snipes has to offer, what she has us doing today.
Thank you all for being here. Ms. Linda?
My name is Linda Jennings, and I have been suffering with my affliction for 50 years, over 50 years. I'm 63 years old, and it started when I was 3 years old.
Sorry to hear that.
I was a victim of child abuse. My older cousin would catch me in the outhouse, and he would molest me, and eventually he raped me.
We are going to talk a whole lot more, but let us first finish the introductions.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kenya, and I am the overcomer of sexual violence, and now, as a result, I'm a mental wellness strategist.
Okay, so when you say overcomer, please let us know what that means.
Overcomer is what Ms. Snipes is talking about. I've come from being broken to
Okay.
you can be healed but not be whole. So that's what being an overcomer means to me.
So you have overcome those issues.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you are a doctor in what?
In Christian counseling.
Okay, good. Very nice. So we are here talking about these ladies. As you can see, that these are wonderful ladies, important people in the community, but within them lies a thorn that is hurting them a whole lot. The idea is not only to take that thorn out, but to heal the wounds. And the healing of the wounds starts with understanding what the problems are, how that thorn has affected deep inside, the deep rooted pain that has been bothering them, which they do not speak at times, and sometimes it bursts out, right? It comes out many times, and sometimes you just keep it pushed inside, shoved it inside. So, if you would like to, would you like to share what happened with you and when?
Well, once again, like I said, I am a survivor of many of things. Sexual assault, many times. Been domestically violated several times. I've been kidnapped in a domestic violence situation. I've also been kidnapped in a sexual assault situation. These things have transpired throughout my life from as a small child throughout my adult years as well. I'm 47 and I went through so much. And me going through the things that I went through, I developed a lot of mental illnesses. I developed depression, anxiety. I had anxiety attacks, severe panic attack disorders. I had developed agoraphobia, where you can only go about certain perimeters within your home, or probably can't go no further than the driveway at times. It got bad. I couldn't drive anymore. A fear would come over me. Some days I would get lost in the vehicle. I would have to call a relative, preferably my mom, and she would come out and find me because I would get lost. All that played a part with the mental illnesses from being abused, not knowing that trauma can cause all that physical and mental pain, and just had me totally just stop. Your life will just stop, you know, and you just try to grasp hold the best way that you can.
Thank you for sharing that with you, ma'am. You did allude to a few things, but would you like to elaborate what happened and how did it continue?
Okay, when I was 3 years old, the first thing that happened to me is I lost my left eye. My brother accidentally blew it out with film. I went into the hospital, and when I came out of the hospital, that's when my cousin started abusing me.
And this is sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse, yes. It got so bad that I refused to go outside to use the bathroom. I would just sit in the house and use the bathroom on myself. And when I started kindergarten, I was still using the bathroom on myself. And,
How old were you then and how old was your cousin?
my cousin was, he was 18 or 19. He was grown.
Okay.
And I was 3. And I would try to escape him by watching to see if he going to work. If he was going to work, I would be able to go to the bathroom. But a lot of times when I thought he was going to work, he was just hiding to wait for me to go to the bathroom. And when I went to the bathroom, he'll come in there and he'll block the door. He wouldn't let me out. And he started to, first with his fingers. And then with his fingers, after I think the 4th time, he actually assaulted me. He sit me on his lap, and you know how you make a little girl jump up and down, pull her up and down? That's how he did me.
And this was when you were 3?
Yes, it was when I was 3. The way I found out that I was 3 years old when it happened was, it's when I finally told my mother about it, she told me, and I told her where we was living at, she told me, she said, baby, you were 3 years old then. I didn't know that I was just 3 years old. I didn't know how old I was. All I know is that what was happening to me.
You remember the atrocities
I
that
remember that, yes.
and at this age you still remember it vividly.
Yes, yes, like it happened yesterday.
It's heart-wrenching. Miss Kenya, what have your experiences been?
Well, it originally started when I went to my first family reunion. I was 12 or 13. And a guy, which was family, I didn't know anybody at the family reunion. I only knew the people that I went with. But a gentleman at the family reunion, come to find out, was family. He got me drunk. And him and his aunt was trying to coerce me to get into the bed with him. And
And how old was he?
he was grown. I'm not really sure how old he was, but he was an older adult. His
So
aunt was older than him. These
Right,
were
so
older.
which means the aunt is also a family member.
Correct. So they both were family. And of course, at the family reunion, you just think everybody's family.
Right.
I didn't know them. I didn't know them personally, but they deliberately got me drunk, and we were all in one hotel room. The family reunion was at a hotel, and I wasn't supposed to be in that room, but I was with some cousins that was around my age, and it was 4 or 5 of us in one bed, and the 2 of them were in the bed together. And I remember they just kept saying, "Come sleep right here in the middle. Just come sleep right here in the middle." I thought it was very, very weird, but it was just like
You didn't know
different
actually.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different family. I'm like, I'm just, my family, we don't operate like that. That was a little weird, but it's like, it's really crowded. Come sleep over here with us. And I was just like, no, I'm just not gonna do that. And everybody, but I was so dizzy at the same time because I was really drunk. And everybody fell asleep, and he came and pulled me out of the bed and molested me. And I jumped up and ran into the bathroom, and I passed out on the bathroom floor. And the next day, somebody was banging on the door and woke me up because I had passed out. And from that moment until I was actually completely whole, it just derailed my whole life. I completely spiraled out of control. Trying to find peace within. I just couldn't believe that it had happened, but I also couldn't contend with what was going on inside my head. It was just too many things happening all at one time.
So you were too young to comprehend what exactly was happening. And in fact, even when you grow up, it's too much to comprehend everything that goes on. And thank you for sharing what exactly happened. Would you like to share the pain that you had to go through?
I was 16 years old when I was violated. We came from Mississippi. We never heard anything about rape. Never heard anything about being violated. The only thing Mama told us was that to keep ourselves, because one day we may get married. That's all I heard. And it was the first day. We moved from Mississippi to Memphis, and I befriended this young lady. We became friends, and she was already busy. Now she was 16 herself, but she was always
Busy as
She was
in-
busy having sex.
Okay.
And I didn't have it. I never even heard the word sex. I didn't have a clue. So she introduced me to this guy. She introduced me to this guy. I know she did. I found out later on. And he came up out of nowhere in the same area where we live and wanted to date me, wanted to take me on a date. So I didn't see anything wrong with it, so we talked just a little while, not long, just a little while. And then at 16, I made a decision to go to the movies. He's gonna take me to the movies. But I asked my mom, and she said, sure. I'm surprised that she didn't ask the same thing that she did. So he went on, picked me up on a Sunday evening in August, and took me to the movies. So I thought. But I didn't know where all of the movies were around there because I hadn't been long to come out of Mississippi. And he made a turn on the main street. And when he made the turn, it's like evening, the dark is coming in. I'm wondering, I had been to a movie, and I'm wondering, where's he going? There's a lot of trees. And I just sit there real quiet, because I was quiet anyway. And I just sit there, he drove and drove. So when he stopped in the car, he said, do you want to sit in the back seat? And I told him, no, I did not want to sit in the back seat. And so he started, pulling at my clothes, my dress that I thought was so pretty, and trying to pull it up. And he was a masculine guy. And believe me, back then, I was small. What happened? So anyway, he kept on pulling and kept on pulling and kept on pulling and kept on pulling until finally he got where he wanted to go. And I was clueless as to what had happened. So when it was over, it just took me right back home. And it was so small of a time until my mother and my father were still sitting on the porch where I left them. So when I stepped up on the porch, my daddy didn't say anything, and my mama said, you back mighty quick. And I grunted, I just said, And I went on in the house, changed my underclothes, and put them in a bag in the garbage can at the bottom of the bag. And I did not, I think I put my voice in there too, because I didn't say a word. And when my mother passed away years ago, she never knew that I had been raped. But I don't know if she didn't pay any attention to my behavior or whatever, because the behavior changed when you are raped and carry that trauma within you, you change. They thought that, I think the family thought that I was, back then they called you fast. She's fast, she's just a fast, because I'm an outspoken person. She just fast. But did nobody know what was wrong with me, because I kept it a secret. Keep it a secret like that, it's working, it's working. It's working from the inside out. And like she said, a good girl turned to a bad girl. We were good country girls. So you turn to a bad girl. Dated this guy and that guy and this guy and that one, you don't hardly know his last name. But yet still, you go on a date. And I was sick, very sick, very
So
sick.
did you go out on dates where you had intercourse?
Did I what?
Did you go out on dates with guys where? Okay. So this was your only experience?
That was enough.
But yes, of course, yeah.
It doesn't take but one.
Right. And you didn't talk to the guy again?
No. When he dropped me off, I said time later, time went on, and even to now, if I had met him 3 days later, I would not have known, I could have looked in his face and I would have known that was him. Because I blocked everything without knowing that I'm blocking it. I wouldn't recognize him and say, there he is right there. I couldn't do it. And suicide was a slow thing coming. Suicide. And this is one person, I don't know about the other one that thought about suicide. This is one person. If I give you my word, even in my life, I give you my word, I'm going to keep my word. So, me not knowing that I'm talking to something inside of me, I was going to kill myself. I really didn't want to die.
And when was this?
A voice inside of me telling me everything.
Right, but after how long?
Some years.
Okay, so it had to grow.
That's
the
it.
problem had to grow
That's
inside you.
That's it.
To feel that what happened was wrong.
That's it. And I really didn't want to die, but I'm committed to what I do and what I say. I'm committed. I knew the bridge that I was going to jump off of, whatever the bridge, Mississippi Bridge. I knew, but I was trying to live long enough till my son get maybe 12 years old. Maybe he can take my God. Oh, it was planned out in my thoughts and in my mind, and I wanted to make sure that there were insurance, I had the insurance, that he would have some money when I leave. I'm serious.
And you mentioned quite a few things that you have gone through. Would you like to elaborate on that, please?
Well, from going through the trauma, different traumas that I've gone through, developing the different mental illnesses, I didn't even know what trauma was. I didn't find out about trauma really until I became a part of this ministry, part of From Brokenness to Wholeness. I had heard it before, but it just didn't register. I couldn't connect the dots. I was very ill, going from hospital to hospital, from doctor's offices, seeing many different specialists, because I had became sick.
What were the atrocities that
I had been raped several times. I had been gang raped, sexually violated several times in another state as well.
And this is from people you knew, or it was in a situation?
Some
where-
situations they were setups. I was set up. So no, I didn't know the violators. Each time,
You did not
I've
know
had
them
more
at
than
all.
one. I've had more than one. I've had more than two. I've had several different events where I was violated, where I was either domestically violated, beaten, strangled, and kidnapped.
By your partner, or
Yes, and also there was a time where I was sexually violated by multiple people by being set up as well.
at the same time?
Yes.
So how did you get into the situation that where these things happen?
It just happened. Things happen. You know, you can't time
Right,
them.
so basically-
you can't say when it's going to take place, who's getting ready to do what to you. Things happen, and those things happen.
And these things happen because you think that what is happening is not out of the ordinary initially, but when it's happening, you are not in a position to get out of it.
Exactly. Just you go into survival mode at the time that it's happening. Only thing you're thinking about is surviving, making it home. That's it. You're not thinking about you acknowledge what's happening to you at that moment. But during my assaults, my main concern was to live.
Right. So you let the perpetrator do it because you wanted to live.
Exactly. Because they were talking about killing me.
While doing
I have no idea why.
while they were doing it to you,
Yeah. And afterwards.
so they scared you. They mentally.
Absolutely, I was terrified. I didn't know, and I was, during that assault, I was thousands of miles away from home.
So the reason I bring this up and go deep into it is that there are sometimes men, but 99.99% of the times women go through this and they are intimidated because of the presence of somebody else.
Threats.
Right, there are threats, and some threats are non-verbal. Nobody has to say that to you, that I'm going to kill you. In some cases, you are just scared. You know it internally, that if I do not abide to what I'm being asked of, something bad could happen to me. Then there is a fear of the parents and the family, so you don't speak up. Did you speak out, any of you speak out to your loved ones immediately afterwards?
No.
Not immediately.
Right. So now, so before we go of speaking about it later, let us talk about why you didn't speak up.
Okay. I didn't speak out because I'm a very secretive person. Anyway, by nature, I'm very secretive. And then I had a lie in me that I didn't know that I had in me. And that is, the lie was that my mother don't love me. She doesn't treat me like she treats the other children. It was 11 to 13 above. So why tell somebody something that
Somebody
you don't
doesn't
believe
even
they
care.
care? They had me kind of labeled in the family, like I said before. She's fast. Fast, old time word for a person, a child that have a mind of my own. I had a mind of my own, and you know, that's why I felt like this is my business. It's over, but it was not over. It was not over. It was just beginning. It's over. It will not happen again. I don't even know what it was. I don't even know what that was that happened to me. I just know I didn't like it. But her, can I say something about her?
Yeah, please, yeah.
Well, her is when she was violated so many times. When she was violated from the age of 3. Is that what you said, 3 or 5?
Yeah, she was.
What age was you?
5.
5. Okay, now she was violated at 5. Whenever you are sexually violated, you are broken. You are emotionally broken, which calls about a weakness in the emotion. So she, as she grew up and this kept happening, she just didn't have the courage to try to do something different. It just wasn't there. And that's why we call, the organization is called From Brokenness to Wholeness. Because when they come, they broke. When they leave, they whole. Now that they are whole, now let them try. Listen, I try to break. I promise you, you will break their neck with your bare hands. Because you got your strength back. You got your voice back.
What were the consequences of you speaking out?
I was threatened that he was going to kill me, he was going to kill my mama, he was going to kill my brother, and I was not going to have any family. And that he told me that if I told anybody that he was going to just get rid of everybody that I love. He was going to get rid of everybody that I love, and I was going to be alone in the world. And that's the one thing I never wanted to be, was alone in the world. I was molested more than just by him. I was molested 3 other times. I have a cousin that made me perform oral sex on him. My mother had left him to take care of us while she went out with her sister. And he made me perform oral sex on him. It was another man that we was renting a house from. He made his daughter have sex with me.
Oh boy.
And he threatened me and told me that if I went back and told my mother, he was going to tell my mother that I was sassing him and that she was going to have to move. And in my life, we had moved so much. And we had found a place that we was comfortable with, and my mama was paying the bills like she was supposed to. And he was threatening to throw us out again, and we wasn't going to have anywhere to live. So I kept my mouth shut. I didn't tell anybody. And I never told anybody about what happened to me until I got,
We was in school together. We
Yeah,
was in our 20s.
I told her,
20s.
yeah, when I was in school.
So there is a syndrome where when somebody is kidnapped and raped, then the victim actually develops an affinity or liking for the kidnapper or the perpetrator. Has any of that happened to any of you? That, okay, I see his part and there is some affection and love that develops. and then you say, oh, probably was not kidnapped, he just did it out of love. Did that ever happen to you?
No.
Anybody?
I had one cousin that he told me that he was gonna show me what love was, and he had sex with me. And for a long time, I thought that was love.
And in my case, so after the initial, it's like with everybody, it happens more than once because for me, the best way to describe it is I started to like the way it hurt because that made sense to me. So it was, if you love me, then this is what love looks like, or this is what family is supposed to do. Like, I did tell, because I got physically sick. I was so sick that I had to go to the emergency room. I told like within 24 hours, and then the world just exploded. It was bad.
So what was the sickness and what did it
So
come?
I couldn't stop vomiting. I was physically sick. Like after it happened, I was so sick I had to go
When
to the
you say
hospital.
the rape?
Yes,
Oh,
correct.
Okay, so
So-
it was rape, not sex.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I got physically sick.
Okay. So
And-
because it was emotional that you couldn't let your body take it,
Correct.
that also the body reacted to express your repulsive
Right.
against those activities.
And when nobody supported me and believed me because he was a prominent figure in his church, and this aunt was this great woman in the community, and I was just a teenager, just made it up to them, and nobody didn't believe me. So when they didn't believe me, my mind couldn't process that. So how I tell my story is, at some point, nobody had to get me drunk. I got myself drunk, and then I welcomed all kind of rapists into my world because I don't know what happened to me. I would drink until I black out, and I would wake up in the woods, and I'd wake up on the side of the road, and I don't know what happened because I just didn't know what happened. And then I joined the military, and when I joined the military, oddly enough, high-ranking official assaulted me in the military. So now I've come from that. I actually am diagnosed with PTSD from the military, but it's the fear of, and he said something that made sense to me. Who's going to believe a troubled girl from the projects, or who's going to believe this low-ranking person over me? And then what happened as a child came back to, who is going to believe me? Nobody. So what am I going to tell for? Why am I going to say something? And then you just be quiet and you let it continue to eat you up from the inside.
And based on the military undefined policies, you don't share, you don't tell, right?
You absolutely do.
Right? And if you have a high-ranking officer, you just obey his orders.
That's exactly what you do.
Right?
That's exactly.
Okay. So now the fact is that that obviously is defined as like a textbook definition of rape. That when a high-ranking officer is above you, then if he's forcing you, and even sometimes he's not even forcing you, then automatically it becomes like, because of his authoritative position,
Correct.
then you succumb to those advances. So how have you healed? Was it the organization brokenness to wholeness, or was it also within you that you wanted to heal yourself? Sometimes not talking about it, not feeling it helps you overcome it. They say that time heals. So did you let time pass by to heal yourself, or was it some other things that you used to heal yourself from the inside out?
With me, I started to cry. I cried for 60 years. I couldn't stop crying. Everything just hurted me. I could have friends tell me their stories, and it hurted me. I can see stuff on TV that people, stuff that happened to other people, and I cry. It hurts me. It hurts me to hear other people pain.
Because it hits that nerve that is
Yes.
hurting.
It hurts me to have other people pain. And that right there is something that I still can't control. But from brokenness to wholeness, stop my tears. I was crying, and when I went to brokenness to wholeness, I really haven't cried about what happened to me since.
Okay, so I do want to know what goes on from in brokenness to wholeness, but I would like you to express what exactly that the things that you used to heal yourself before you could join the institution.
Me going to different therapeutic facilities. I went to counseling sessions. I've seen psychiatrists. I've seen therapists. I've tried to self-medicate because they had got to the point where I was passing out in public places. I couldn't go to the local grocery store anymore. It got really, really bad. So I continued, like I said before, to go to doctor's offices and see many different specialists. And when I was going to the therapist, actually I saw several different therapists. And they had a very high turnover, which meant I was just constantly just seeking, trying to get help, and they weren't helping me. They weren't helping me at all.
What were the things that they were telling you that could help, and what were the things that they tried to tell you but you weren't convinced and you weren't healing? What were those, both the things?
Well, in most of my sessions, they were crying. The therapist was doing most of the crying. I was angry. I was more angry at that time than crying. I was very upset. And my therapist, they would be in tears, and the next week I come back, that therapist would be gone. And I would go back.
Who were you upset at?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Who were you upset at?
I was upset with life. I was upset with the fact that I was sick. I was ill. I didn't know why. Like I said, I hadn't connected the dots yet. That me going through the different traumas in my life caused me to have the physical and mental sicknesses and illnesses. I did not know that me being sexually violated, domestically violated, mentally abused caused me to have so many medical and physical illnesses. And I was angry because I wanted to have a normal life like everybody else. I wanted to be able to go to the market without having to pay somebody to go grocery shopping for me, without me having to pay somebody to drive me to the different places that I on the dorm would go. It got really bad to the point where I couldn't drive, like I said earlier, and I wasn't sociable. I couldn't go out in crowds, and I was a social butterfly. So I thought, my life stopped. And going from one medical facility to one therapeutic facility and doing that for 2-3 years, and I got a phone call out of the blue one day from Mrs. Snipes, and she didn't know at the time that I had been going through all those things. And we are faith believers, and I believe that God placed me on her heart to just start calling me out of the blue. And I even tried to commit suicide because I thought that was an easier way out.
That could solve all the problems.
And which it wasn't gonna solve any problems, because like I said, I am a faith person, and at that time I was okay with dying and going to hell, because I do believe in a hell. And I was okay with dying and going to hell because I felt like going to hell would be better than being here
Because
and dealing with what I was
this
going
hell
through.
was worse than...
That's so I thought.
Right.
That was the mentality that I had at that time. But now that I have been introduced to From Brokenness to Wholeness, under the leadership of Mrs. Thelma Snipes, I no longer have to deal with those things. She coached me. She showed me the most gratitude, the love. First of all, she showed me that it was not my fault, the things that I went through. She showed me how to get in a mental, comfortable place where I could surrender the pain that I had trapped so deep, it was embedded within. And just by being with her every day, it came from starting from phone calls to going to group sessions and having personal time with her. And like I said, going through the therapeutic stages with those people for 3 and 4 years, and come to her only in a couple of months. And she did more for me in those settings than they did, what they tried to do in years, worked out for me in a couple of months time. And I'm no longer, to this day, I don't shed tears about what I went through. I'm not broken anymore. You know, that's why we call it from brokenness to wholeness, because of those things that we went through. Through this ministry, we found out how to escape that pain. We found out another avenue. We found out how to live. We found out how to live through from brokenness to wholeness.
What I hear is a success story.
It's a what?
A success story.
Success.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I want to know what it entails, but before we get into that, I would like to know, what did it take for you, from you experiencing all of those things to starting this, and how long has it been since you have started this organization?
10 years.
10 years. What did it take for you? We know why you did it, but I still want to ask you, why did you want to do this?
I love people.
Okay.
I love people. Sometimes you can love people more than you love yourself. I love people. And God had released a gift in me for this that had been there a long time, but I didn't know it. But He manifested it to me. The same gift that He used through me for them. As I was serving them.
Did it come as a one-time thing that I have a dream, or did it come over years?
It came over the years. He wanted me to know what He had in me. I would have dreams, and I could hear words, write the vision, and make it plain. So they that read it may run, but I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept on doing what I was doing, whatever I was doing. And
Did you take training?
I had some training. I've studied, yes. I went to Southwest College to study sexual assault. I had training in Maryland. I went there to get some more training. But the most of my training come from the Most High. And the Most High God.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to serving them,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even home myself when I started serving them. I didn't know it. They didn't know it either. But when I started serving them, then my holiness came in. Because it is a gift. It's a spiritual gift that God gave me to help myself and to help them. Because see, I knew I had been raped. But I didn't know I was sick. I was a cool sick. I didn't know I was sick. I thought I was all right because I was in the church. You know, powerful church. I was in the church. I didn't know I was sick.
So in all of these cases, have you made a call to a 911 or police to say, this is what happened to me right now, or yesterday, or 2 days, or month back?
For me,
If I-
yes.
So you
For
called.
me, because I was a teenager,
Mhm.
and when I went to the hospital, then the police was called, and a rape kit was performed, and so it was. But all of it is just ridiculous, and I use the word ridiculous because even in that process, you're still being violated.
Correct. Yes, I
In the
understand.
process itself. So.
Right. The question is that were the perpetrators brought to justice?
Well,
Remember me,
Correct. Right.
How do we know it's real?
Right.
How do we know it's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Because I never heard of it. Never thought of it.
Yeah. And in your case?
And one of the situations, there is a police report and photos and such from me being domestically violated.
Was it physical abuse or was it sexual abuse?
That time was physical.
Okay.
I was beaten, strangled, and kidnapped from my home.
By your,
Ex.
okay, I mean, were you married or
No,
just a partner?
just someone I had dated and broken up with.
Domestic violence.
Yes, it was domestic violence. I had broken up with them and they didn't want to accept no. And they came back and that situation transpired.
Obviously, all of these things that you have experienced and all the women that have experienced this kind of atrocities is not forgivable. It's really bad. But now let us now come to the healing process. I want to ask you, what exactly do the women go through? What is it that you impart to them? What is it that you give to them that transforms them from a fearful caterpillar into a beautiful butterfly?
Here it is. And I hope that you can understand it. I don't know if you believe in the Most High God.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
I most certainly do. There is always that power is there.
Exactly.
The fact is that He has given us also.
Exactly.
He has put that seed in us. The problem is that we do not let that seed sprout. There are so many things internal and external that prevent that seed from sprouting. There is no mineral, there is no water, there is no soil. So what are all the things that constitute to the water, mineral and soil that you gave to everybody else that made that transformation possible?
I give them spiritual tools. Words are powerful. The
Okay.
gift is in my tongue.
Okay.
If I
Give me an example.
I'm finna, I might give you an example. You might not want to see it.
Give it to me.
I'm pushing stuff out of the way now. Okay? I don't know.
Let it come. Let it flow.
When I open, my God, when I open my mouth to talk, the gift is working then. I don't feel it working. They feel it working. Some of them do. I don't feel the gift working. It comes through my tongue. When God first told me about trying to get me to understand, He said, your gift is in your mouth.
Okay.
And the Bible says in Proverbs 21:18, say the power of death and life is in the tongue. If we use this tongue right there, we can get anything done.
So
The tongue, because it's
So
the power.
now what happens is that when you talk, they get motivated.
Yes.
And now what I am summarizing is that there are few things within you.
Mhm.
They're having therapists that have talked to you. Multiple. Right?
That's correct.
You have had probably family members who probably denied and then said, well, no, come on, it cannot be that.
Yep.
And then say, well, yeah, it may be, but if, and all of those things come. But there is something, even though the best of therapists, the best of counselors could not touch within your heart, within your mind, and in your soul to make you feel, aha, that nerve has now been touched. And that it is, the best part is that now I am recovering.
Yeah, can I sum it up like this for you? So I've gone to a lot of therapists myself. That's what made me become a counselor myself. So I went to a lot of therapists, and before I became a part of this organization, I was already healed but not whole. So what I mean is, I healed the little girl within. So I did that with, I had to admit that was a problem. I had to ask for help, and then I had to take action. The difference is becoming a part of this is everybody else treated the symptom, but she treated the root. That's what makes it different.
All right. So I think there's a whole lot of things that the healing process, and it's not just healing, but from healing to being whole is a huge journey, and we are going to talk about it in our next show. So I want to thank you for now for sharing your pain. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. Few ending words. Would you like to say some things?
When I was sexual assaulted, I was so young that I believed that wasn't anybody gonna believe me. Wasn't nobody gonna believe me, and that's the one thing they always told me is that they would say, "With your one-eyed self, ain't nobody gonna believe you. They gonna believe us. We the grown folks. You know, you ain't nothing but a child. The children, they don't listen to, and they didn't. Grown up did not listen to children back then. If a child said something, they would tell us, go back in there, get on that, because we were supposed to be seen and not heard. So I just feel like there's nobody gonna be.
I just wanted to say that I have learned through the process that I wasn't responsible for what happened to me, but I am responsible for my healing.
Very good, beautiful.
I'm just thankful to be whole, not broken anymore, and to be my own light at the end of my own tunnel, and to be able to give back to those and let them know that you can go through traumatic events in your life and there's somebody there that can help you along the way to show you the path and the road from your journey of being broken to being made whole, just as I did.
Brokenness, wholeness is another level of faith. Faith is here. Wholeness come above healing. Wholeness come above deliverance. It's whole. Wholeness, when you are whole, you are never suffer from that again. Deliverance, it may come back in this breast. Cancer hit you here, it may come over here. Healing, the other foot. Wholeness, the only way brokenness will come back, you got to get violated again. You got to be raped again. It's wholeness, sweep everything out. You're a new creature.
That's right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the end of this session, I want to thank these ladies again. As you can see, they are really, really brave. They had the braveness in them, but they didn't have that small thing to let that braveness get into a major thing for them to become what they are today. So when we meet again next time, we are going to get into the wholeness part of it. So until next time, stay tuned. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. You liked it?
Yes.
Well, look at the babies.
Did we just do
Okay.
a talk show?